Hey everybody, welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we try to find value when there's fear and to be cautious where there's greed. If you like anything I say or find it to be helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. So today and yesterday, I guess you could say that Bitcoin has been going through a lot of price action because of all the rumors and now finally approval of the Bitcoin ETF. So what does that mean? As far as this channel is concerned, like I said in our intro, we try to be cautious when there's greed. Today, there is extreme greed on the crypto chart. We have just entered into that territory. Now, Warren Buffett is famously said to be greedy when others are fearful and to be cautious when others are greedy. Something like that, very similar to my intro. All because we hit extreme greed does not mean we have to sell tomorrow. Even though this might be a sell the news event, we're going to wait and see. Looking at the charts, right here, we were bouncing off the 382 on a fib. I'll draw that fib up again, and we've crept into it a couple times. What's going to happen? To be honest, I don't know. Now, here's what I'm going to caution y'all to do, or to ask y'all to do. Take a deep breath. Guys, anytime you find yourself wanting to chase the hype, chase the pumps, that is when you are going to get yourself in trouble. If you have not already bought into crypto, you are vastly increasing the likelihood that you are going to get wrecked in the short term rather than, say, if you already had a lot of time in the market. Okay. Time in the market is more important than timing the market. Okay. None of us know what's going to happen, whether this is going to send Bitcoin up to, 55,000, 60,000, 100, 200,000. No one knows. But usually, when there's a lot of hype, when there's a lot of greed, that is when you should be extremely cautious. And that is why I am being extremely cautious. I'm going to show you a couple reasons why that is. So, right now, as you can see, here, let's look at this chart. November, where's November? Right around here. November was when we had the FTX sell-off. Now you can see that the fear index wasn't even as low as back here when the price was a little higher. Over in here was when the price was at its lowest after the FTX sell-off. So greed and fear does not always have to match the highs and lows of price, though it can correlate a bit. Here we have just touched into extreme greed, which is 75 and higher. Okay. Back in 2018, we had a sell off right after the peak of Bitcoin, that bull market cycle. It peaked in early January of 2018. Let me go to that. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about here, because some of you may be new to Bitcoin. I'm going to keep this fib up here. But look down below, by the way, to track the date. You'll see how it's moving up. December 17, January of 2018. Let's maybe go to the 1 year frame and then we'll scroll back. Sorry for any of you guys that might get a little motion sick. Okay, going back. Right here, look at this time. It was early January when I know Bitcoin's kind of chopping sideways here. It was early January, right around here, before things really took a dump in the alt market. Yes, Bitcoin already went down a little bit, but right from here is where it started to dump. All right. And that's where the greed index or the fear and greed index bottoms down here. Now, after Bitcoin went down for a while, we're going to go on a journey together here so we can try to increase our perspective. After it went down for a while, you can see this fib I drew, okay, Fibonacci scale. It's the tool right here. measured from the cycle after the low to the high, and then we broke out. But when we came down, you can see we were bouncing off this 786, slowly crept under, and then boom, went down to the bottom there. Okay, here's what I want you guys to pay attention to. Okay, December 18 to March of 19, we were down at the lowest parts of the last 4-year cycle before we went up to the top. In 4-year cycle, what do I mean by that? I'm talking about this right here. Okay, this is the Bitcoin rainbow chart, and you can find it on blockchaincenter.net. And you can see this was a 2017 peak, 2018. This is the same chart I showed you. This is where it bottomed. And this rainbow chart, basically, it's a logarithmic regression chart. So what that means is that over time, Bitcoin will be less volatile. It's not to say that it can't move to really nice high prices, but it's not going to be as crazy or profitable as, let's say, if you put 1,000 in now compared to if you put 1,000 in back here. Okay, your profits overall are going to be less should this cycle continue. But I want you to pay attention to this right here. Okay, I've been looking at this a lot, and this is where I believe we are at. With the ETF news, we will see how that changes things. It may or may not change things, and I'm going to try to explore reasons why it might and how here at Market Psychology, how we are approaching this. And so you can see, again, this is March of 19 to July of 19. We went to this peak, still down into the COVID crash. That's what this is. And then after November 2020, we got past those former highs, shot up to new all-time highs, and that's all she wrote. Okay, I think this right here is very similar to this, what's going on, but more drawn out, and I'm going to show you why. So, let's take a look here at when we pumped up there. So June, July 2019, when we had that halfway in the 4-year cycle, when we hit that high before selling off into where's March 2020? So March 2020, look at that. The lows in the price did match the extreme fear levels we were in. But when we went up into extreme greed, look at this. We kept climbing, and we went to 80, went to above 90. And so I'm looking for Bitcoin to possibly do the same. Maybe not as strong of a move. As far as greed goes, I'm thinking maybe 80, 85, which isn't too far away. We're at like 76 right now. So here's why that is. When I draw this fib from the previous top and bottom, before the next bull run, you can see that it hit the 382, and I know this fib might not be exactly perfect, and then it went down. And this move, it took like half a year, okay, from that cycle bottom. The move we are currently having from our last cycle bottom has taken a lot longer. Look at this, November, December of 22, into January even. So this has taken a full year. And if we draw a fib from, let's try to find the absolute low. We're going to line it up as well as we can. And you see that line, we're looking back and to the left. And at the absolute high, you can see we're right at the 382, just like we were back then. Now, there's some space there, so I probably didn't draw my fib exactly perfect. I'm going to try my best here. Sorry, I know it's probably like watching your grandparents use their computer. I apologize, This is a real professional channel, as you can tell. Sarcasm. So let's try to get this lined up as best as we can. I'm looking at the left. Okay, right there. Yeah, we are right at, look at that, right below the 382. Okay. Yesterday when I drew it, I must have maybe been up just a touch, and it was like right on the 382. So I'm not drawing it perfectly today. I apologize. All right. So like the last cycle, we are hitting the 382 once again. But we've hit it a year later. So what can I show to reflect that? Well, let's get rid of this fib. Just remember where these are. We have the 786, 618.5, 382. After we hit the 382, and I'm looking at these numbers on the right here, or on the left, I'm sorry. We went down below the 0.5, and when we were below the 0.5, the 618, the 786, those were great times to buy, especially between the 618 and 786. The best times to buy. Sure, if you caught that crash, great, but you had a little time too. So if you want to be safe and accumulate, anything below the 6 or the 0.5 is good. Anything below the 618 is even better. All right. So, and that's where I have this buy zone and mega buy zone pretty much. I put them a touch above those lines. What would be the 786, I put it a touch above. And I put this level, you can see the price on the right, the 37. I put it a touch above the 0.5 just to give myself a little bit of room, because sometimes price of the assets can bounce really dramatically. So I want to give myself some wiggle room. I don't have to hit an exact bottom to be happy. But we're going to show, or we're going to reflect how this move is different and how it's taken more time. We're going to take a look at the Pi Cycle Bitcoin high-low indicator. So when we go back to 2019, let me get rid of this fib so we can see this. We hit this long moving average up here. We even went above it a little bit. But you can say, for the sake of this video, that we hit it. That's probably where we closed. Maybe it wicked above. That's fine. But we hit it. Okay? But again, remember, this is about half a year, from, look at this, December 18, June, July. So half a year, when we escaped the bottom, even less, like 3-4 months. So half a year or less to get there. And we hit that moving average. When we were at this bottom, if we would have hit the 382, we would have been touching this line. And I'll draw that fib again. I know it's going to look really messy. And again, just work with me here. Look at where the price is now at the 382. If we would have hit this 6 months after we bottomed, 3 to 6 months, that's January 23, so we're looking, April to June of 24. Okay, so in here, in this range right here, we would have hit that same long-term moving average, as well as maybe hit the 382 with the same strength of move, if we would have had an ETF approval back here. You could say, is the ETF narrative driving this I'm going to call this a mid 4-year cycle high? I don't think so. I do think that price is going high into the narrative of the ETF, which is interesting. It will be interesting if this time is different, if we get above the 382. Because in the last 4-year cycle, when we got above the 382 and then the 236, we were done. And now I have to draw the fib again. But by the way, before I get rid of the Pi Cycle high and low, notice this. The Pi Cycle high was at the top. The low is at the bottom. The last time the Pi Cycle high was at the top. And yes, this was the top. I know here maybe is a little bit higher. Most of the alts finished running as best they could back here. Now, you'll notice here Pi Cycle low wasn't the true low. And that's okay. Getting Bitcoin at sub 20K compared to 17K, who cares, if we got it at the high 19s or 17s when it's at, dang near 50K right now. So we're going to get rid of the Bitcoin cycle high low. All right. And again, we're going to draw this fib here. We're going to go from the low to that high. Let me line it. I'm lining it up with the top, the previous top, or as close as I can get. We never got really above the 382. Maybe we wicked above it. This fib doesn't have to be exact. But once we did get above the 382, we were done. Now, sure, we had to get, past the 236 and break past the previous all-time high. When we break past the previous all-time high, things can get obnoxiously bullish for a bit. And, from that time, was that December of 2020 to, April of 21, 4 months later, that was it. If you would have bought anywhere around the COVID bottom, that would have been amazing. Excuse me. But from this very bottom that we hit back in December of 18, it took a while. So it took 2 years and 3-4 months. That would be like saying from November 22 that it would be, early 2025 when we would be done. Maybe Bitcoin will top early 2025 or late this year. None of us know, but it is interesting how the highs have matched up in the last two bull markets. And so, again, I know a lot of people are excited about the ETF news, and it is exciting because, are things different this time? Is Bitcoin going to be taken more seriously? Is crypto going to be taken more seriously? Guys, I got to be honest with you, being through the last two mega bull markets, it feels very much the same. I remember the 2017, the post 2017 nonsense had to do with BitConnect. And if you don't know what BitConnect is, look it up. A lot of people lost a lot of money, and a lot of people got sued for pushing BitConnect, which was basically a pyramid scheme crypto. It had zero value. This time around, it was Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX. Okay, that was the bottom. This space is still infected with so much crap. We got big time entertainers, guys like BitBoy, Ben Armstrong, running around with his side chick, driving up to other dudes' houses and stuff. Like that's the stuff that makes headline on crypto, things that don't even matter. We have yesterday, the SEC got hacked. The Securities and Exchange Commission, their Twitter, their X account got hacked and said, hey, the ETF is approved. And right after they said the ETF was approved, I'll show you what happened. You can look it up. The price all of a sudden shot up. And then they're like, nope, it wasn't. Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, said, our account got compromised, and then boom, it sold off. So maybe it was an intern who mistakenly hit send a day early, because now all of a sudden they're saying, yep, this is legit, this is real, we are approved. But look at this so far. Our price has only gone back to where it was. As far as I know, there's no fake out. If we go to ETF approval stuff, the news says, hey, it's happened, that the ETF is on its way. So far, it looks like a possible sell the news event that maybe as money is going to pump in, it's going to be instantly sold off. And here's my thought, generally speaking, and guys, I could be completely wrong. So if I am, again, none of this financial advice. This is just my opinion. Why would all the biggest money institutions, asset managers in the world want to buy it up here and not closer to down here? Not that they weren't, but as far as ETFs go, we're talking about Bitcoin and stocks. If we believe in the 4-year cycle that the top's going to be later 24, early 25, mid 25, whenever, it's not just going to keep going up all the way till then. Nothing does that. There's drawbacks, 10%, 20%, 30%. We'll see. I'm looking for drawbacks again underneath, this 37 zone. Hopefully it gets there. Doesn't mean it has to, all because I want it to, all because it matches what it did last time. So, I don't know. We'll see what'll happen. And this is how, for any of you who have watched my videos, this is how I approach any asset. Number one, is it an asset you like? I like crypto. I think it has some good things about it. Number two, is it an asset you use? And I say that because if it's an asset you use and there's a stock behind it, whether or not it has value in buying it. Because maybe you use that product, you love it, you're investing into it, and all of a sudden one day that product starts to suck, so company's having problems. That can be a signal to you that, maybe you need to start exiting your position a little bit. That maybe this doesn't have the same long-term potential as you of a company that you thought it did. That is one of the easiest ways to get insider information on something. The thing with crypto that's so tricky is this is not a product that is really used at all. Okay, so this is speculative. This should be play money, as far as like serious financial money that you're looking to invest. Obviously, I would recommend see a financial advisor, start a Roth IRA, something like that, put your money into something that has utility that's being used. Right now, this to me is like educated gambling. This is what I would consider gambling money. It's money I'm not afraid to lose. If this becomes a thing, great. I'm going to make a lot of money off it instead of wasting money at the casinos on lower probability games, that where the casino always wins. Wall Street is the casino too, so I'm just looking at this as something that, if it does work out, cool. The 5-10% of my investment money that I put into this, if I make a lot out of it, I would sell this stuff quicker and roll it into, stocks. I wouldn't sell everything, but sorry, I've been going on a little bit of a long talk today. Let me rewind. When I first look at anything, I look at, is this something I like? Is this something I use? And then I go to the chart. Okay. I look at the last year. Where is the price? Is it at a yearly high? Is it within 10-20% of a yearly low? It's at a yearly high. I don't want to buy it. Okay. This is where I say time in the market is more important than timing the market. I've been in this crypto market for a while, so when things were at a yearly low over here, a lot of people were talking about buying. I was looking at buying. The RSI was low, it double tapped. That wouldn't have been the worst time to buy. But knowing the 4-year cycle, which again, we can show it's reflected right here. And what I'm showing you is like right around one of these areas. Look, we had to hold it for a while. So I'm taking the long-term approach if I start buying back here. But look, all of a sudden it falls again. Okay. I look at the RSI, the relative strength index. When is it double hitting the relative strength index? In here, I was buying because I saw this as accumulation. The price was going sideways, but all of a sudden, boom, it went lower. When the FTX sell-off happened and markets, the S&P, everything was tanking October, November. The news was so bad. It was so much extreme fear. I was buying in because I knew that was a great opportunity. In the stocks, let's go to October, November of 22. Okay, October. Let's take a look at how big of a drawdown that was. We're talking, oh my God. We're talking like 25%. That's huge. Guys, anytime something's drawing down over 10%, I think it's, you have to really consider. Long-term wise, that might be a deal. 15%, awesome. 20%, amazing. 25%, great. That's how you should think. When there's extreme fear, when markets are selling off, when we are oversold. And that's not to say that it can't go lower. Of course it can. We've had 50, 60% drawdowns in the 70s, 2008 financial crisis. So we're not looking to get rich quick. We're looking for long-term opportunities. That's why I say, do you like the product? Because if you like it, who gives a shit if it goes down? You like the product, you use the product, you're like, okay, I'm going to roll with that. Sorry for uh, the fast moving screen here. 2008 financial crisis. You like you like Apple. You like apples, how about them apples? I apologize, Goodwill Hunting reference. Okay. Apple has a 42% drawdown. But hey, if you like the product, that should be sending alarms off in your head. Buy this product. It's gone down 42%. You like apples? How about dem apples? Apple goes down 60%. Okay? Even if you're looking at 50%, where it's like at $3. What's Apple at today? It's over 62 times higher. 62 times 3, that's 186. Okay? That's like saying $1,000 of your money would be $62,000 15 years later. $10,000 would have been $620,000. You hear what I'm saying? So anytime we're getting these major drawdowns, that's why I say time in the market is more important than timing the market. You have to be patient. So when you see this ETF approval stuff and you see that we are getting into extreme greed, and I do think it'll higher, and me personally, I do think that crypto, even though like before is bouncing off the 382, I am wondering, just fib wise, if it's going to get up to that 236 level, and we'll go over again what that is. I'm drawing these very quick. I apologize if it's not exact. That maybe it gets to this 55,000 level. I could see it, and if it happens, okay, that's not going to bother me at all, because you know what? I'm going to wait for my time when things meet my conditions. So I'll say, you know what? That is a good time to buy. Before I knew all this stuff, before I had all the knowledge and experience I do in the field of psychology that I do now, there were some times I chased certain assets because I was excited. There was good news. There was greed. People were excited about a product. And then I check it months later and I'm down 10, 20%. That's why you don't chase greed or extreme greed. I'm telling you, it's a good way to get wrecked. Even though you might see short-term gains, we don't know. And on this channel, I'm not trying to promote trading, leveraging calls, puts, options, leverage, any of that stuff. This is for the long-term new investor to stocks or crypto. And I'm trying to make this educational and welcome and to build a community for you guys. So anyways, I think I'm going to leave it there. I've been chit-chatting with y'all for 28 minutes. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Maybe we're just going down from here into the halving. There is one last thing I want to show you guys, that on this rainbow chart, each time we've been in the halving, look at how we move up a zone. Each time we hit the halving, we move up a zone. Each time we hit the halving, we move up a zone. If we then move up a zone at the next halving, look where it would be. Oh, look at the fourth box up, the light green one, the still cheap one, 55 to 67, 51.5 to 67,000. Remember what I said about that 55,000 price? Maybe around the halving, these things can take time, stuff doesn't just boom, go straight up. Maybe we're going to be at that 236 level around the halving and then come down. Here we moved up early, slowly went down into the halving and then went up out of it. Here we went up into the halving. Look at what happened after. It went down after the halving, then went up. How high was the price here? Okay, what am I looking at? We're looking at June of 2016. Okay, June of 2016. I'm just curious. What happened in June of 2016. Again, I apologize for the fast moving screen for any of you that might have seizures or something. June of 2016. Okay, we were at 775. We went down to 480. But let's look at some of these metrics. What happened after that halving? That's 23%. Wick down 37%. Okay. I wasn't exact. What if I did from the very top? 38%. What would that be like today? What would be 38% from today? 38% would be around, I'm looking at the number on the right, 29,000. What would be, what was that other number I said? 20%? I think I said 37,000. Funny, it kind of lines up near our fibs, near my buy zone. So, we'll see. I've talked for over 30 minutes. Guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. Maybe watch this one. Maybe start watching some of my videos in 2x speed on YouTube. But I really hope you guys are finding these helpful. Feel free to drop a like. That helps the channel. And if you have any recommendations or thoughts on things you would like to see, stock, crypto-wise, questions you have, if there's any cryptos or stocks you want me to look at with you, I am happy to do so. Please just drop those in the comments below. But again, none of this financial advice, not a financial advisor. This is just my opinion for entertainment purposes. Best of luck to everybody. We'll see what this ETF does for the markets long term. I do think a sell-off or a correction to the fear area is coming, maybe 3 to 6 months down the road. But we have to get there. It doesn't always just flash crash like it did in 2020. But I do hope you found the video to be helpful. So that's all I got for today, guys. Take care, everybody.